Alright, so today we're going to be going over Q's new lineup of 30 cal silencers. So these ones are going to be replacing, I believe, the Thunder Chicken and the Trash Panda. And so we're going to go over some of Q's claims, test them, and see if they hold true. So full disclosure, these were given to me by Q. There was no expectation of a review or anything, but I just got an email one day saying I had my order confirmed and that these showed up. So that's about the extent of the conversation I've had with them. And yeah, so let's get into the review. So first thing we're going to do is we'll talk about how the new lineup differs from the old ones, and then we'll start with the Blind Tiger, talk about its performance on 556, 308, 300 blackout, sound, flash, everything like that. Then we'll move over to the Speakeasy, and we're going to be comparing this one to the Trash Panda, and then we're going to be comparing this one actually to the Cat Johnny Law. All right, so this one right here is the Blind Tiger, and this one is the Trash Panda. So the differences, according to Q, is lighter, stronger, quieter, cheaper. So three of them we can pretty much identify as being true. It is lighter, according to my scale anyway. The Trash Panda is 13 point something, and this one's like 12 point something. I'll put the actual weights here, but so it is lighter. And then you can assume that this being stainless steel versus this being titanium, that it will be a stronger silencer, so that's a bonus too. And it definitely is cheaper. So I was looking at the prices of these now, and they're actually like $1,100 now, which in my opinion is a little high, especially with these being out. I don't know. I'd assume these are going to be phased out. And then there's no sparking because these aren't titanium like these. Titanium sparks and stainless steel doesn't. So the only real claim left to test is the sound. So if you remember from my Trash Panda review, there was only like 2 real complaints. One of them was the first round pop was fairly significant on the Trash Panda. So the first thing I did was I got some subsonic 300 blackout. I used the Phantom Defense 190 grain, and well, I'll show you those results side by side, the first round pop from each of these. So as you can tell, the first round pop is definitely quieter with the Blind Tiger, so I was really excited to see that. And then here's the subsequent shots after the first round pop, so you can see if you can tell a difference between these two. So the Blind Tiger is definitely a little bit quieter. It's not like significantly quieter, but it's noticeably quieter, like at least while you're shooting it. And I feel like my mic does a pretty good job of picking up like what my ears hear with silencers, so that's kind of a bonus. So this is a little bit quieter than this one. They said this one's quieter than the Thunder Chicken. I've never shot the Thunder Chicken. I've shot the full Nelson and the Trash Panda, so I can't really speak to if this is actually quieter than the Thunder Chicken, but it's definitely quieter than this. So you might have noticed a little bit of flash on that first round. So I had seen that twice. The first shot I ever shot out of this, there was a little bit of a fireball, and then when I recorded it there was a little bit of a fireball. It's not always, but it's a lot of the time. So that was kind of interesting, so I decided, I wasn't planning on doing flash tests, but decided to do a flash test. So flash with this, with target ammo, and I used all ammo from Phantom Defense, so his like more target oriented ammo, I get a little fireball like probably 60-70% of the time with that first round pop. So I was using the 190 sub X, getting a little bit of a flash, but then when I use something like these, like his self-defense, like tactical whatever ammo, I don't get any of that flash. So I think it's going to depend on your ammo, but I did get a little bit of flash with this Phantom 190 sub X. Yeah, oh yeah. But no sparking, and there's no flashing after the first round, so I don't know if it's not important to me, but it might be important to you, so there's the results I got. So 2 things I initially forgot to mention is I did a return to 0 test just on the Speakeasy, not the Blind Tiger. And so all I did was shoot a 5-round group where I took the suppressor off between every shot. So I'd shoot, take it off, put it back on, shoot, just to see if there's any impact shift, and there's really not. This gun shoots Federal Gold Medal match, 10-round group, a little over an inch most days, so a 5-round group, a little under an inch, you know. So I'd say the return 0 is definitely there. This is a hand load that's not going so well. The other thing I forgot to mention was I did a supersonic 300 blackout test on the Honey Badger, and they legit all sounded exactly the same to me. So I think that's something you would need a bolt gun, not a short-barreled gas gun, to really get a good idea of, but here's the results of that in case you want to watch it. Okay, now we're going to shoot some supers. These are pretty spicy supers. They're the Phantom Defense 110 grain with the NAS3 case. So I got 1-year plug-in, but So for its length, in my experience, this is probably better than most silencers this size. So 556, this one is like the test that, in my view, the way I can do it is a little less meaningful, so I'll go over it a little bit quicker, because all my 556 silencers are pretty short. I have the polonium K and the hydrogen 6.5, and I have used a white bread quite a bit, but I don't have one with me, so I couldn't compare them on the same day with the same ammo, which is very important. But what I can tell you is on my 11.5, this thing is a lot quieter than I expected it to be. It's really comfortable on the 11.5. I just prefer K silencers or shorter silencers on my 5.56 guns, but this one performs really well. Like the way I've got my rifle set up, it's got a mid-length gas and a downward venting bolt carrier group, but I don't need earplugs shooting this on there, so I was really happy to see that too. Also, I almost forgot to bring up, one thing that was really surprising was the flash performance with this on the 11.5. I wouldn't imagine they'd done much for flash reduction, because it's just, I think it's primarily designed for subsonic 300 blackout, but the 11.5 with M855, which is like sometimes the flashier of ammo, there was like zero flash on the first round or subsequent rounds. The only time I noticed any kind of anything was when I wear night vision and I start shooting fast. I can kind of get some, but maybe it's a length thing. Like I said, I don't use a lot of full-size 5.56 silencers, where this would kind of be on the bigger end of 5.56 cans, but there's essentially no flash, so I was really impressed with that too. So as far as performance on 308, I couldn't tell a huge difference between this and the Trash Panda, but the Trash Panda does pretty good on 308. I had it on my 308 for a long time. If you're shooting outdoors, you know, in my opinion, I never had earplugs. I felt it was quiet enough, at least on my 20-inch 308 bolt gun, which is important to bring up. It's kind of a long barrel, and it's not a semi-auto, but it's plenty pleasant on that rifle. It sounds really good. So moving on to the Speakeasy, which is I'll have to look up the exact thing, but I think it's like 9 inches. This thing on subsonic 300 blackout is silly quiet. So they said that it would be quieter than the full Nelson on 300 blackout, and the full Nelson, I either mentioned it in my Johnny Law or my Trash Panda review, was actually one of the first silencers I ever used. When I ordered my first silencer, the dealer let me shoot quite a bit, and he had a full Nelson on something, and it was super quiet. And it's kind of funny, because like later in life shooting other silencers, it was kind of hard to find something that was as quiet on 300 blackout, even at the time, like the full Nelson was kind of getting a little bit old. The only thing that to me sounded just as good was the Johnny Law. So we kind of had a good comparison, because I have the Johnny Law here, so I was able to compare these, same day, same ammo, same everything. And on subsonic 300 blackout, I still kind of go back and forth on which one I feel like is quieter. They're both extremely quiet. They're definitely the quietest on 300 blackout that I've heard. The Johnny Law has essentially no first round pop, and then the Speakeasy has a little bit that you can notice sometimes. Sometimes, like, it's quiet enough that you don't notice it in a lot of situations, but the only time I really notice it is like shooting through a canyon. You can tell that there's a little bit of first round pop, but it's very mild. So extremely quiet on 300 blackout. I wish I had some more hosts to shoot like a bolt gun 300 blackout, but I just have the Honey Badger. But yeah, swapping them side by side, like I went through a ton of 300 blackout ammo, just swapping these, trying to figure out which one I felt like was quieter. And what it really came down to was, I feel like the Johnny Law has a deeper noise and kind of a shorter noise. Like maybe you'll be able to hear it in this video. But when you shoot, the sound impulse seems shorter and kind of a lower tone, where this one is, to me, just as quiet, but it's like kind of a longer sound, like in the can. It kind of is like not a sizzle, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just a little bit longer. So I had a lot of friends with me and my wife and everything shooting these, and like people kind of went back and forth. I posted videos downrange on Instagram, like which one sounds better. It was really evenly split between like this one's quieter, or they sound exactly the same. And ultimately I came to the conclusion, like when the performance is that close, start looking at other features of the silencer, not just if one is like a tenth of a decibel quieter or whatever. Like look at price, weight, everything, and see what fits your needs best. But these are both like really neck and neck, which is very, very impressive. I initially thought that this was going to be quieter on 300 blackout, this one would be quieter on 308, but so I guess we'll go into the 308 performance now. So performance on 308, I shot these different days and everything, like different locations, all kinds of stuff to try to get an idea, because the first time I shot them I was like, I hear no difference at all, which is pretty impressive for this because it's cheaper, and this was like purpose built for 308. So they're both really, really quiet. I'm not taking anything away from this. This is still like really, really good. One thing I did notice though, and I'll show you in this video, is the shooting through canyons. It seems like the Speakeasy is quieter because you don't hear like a bunch of the downrange crack. I'm not sure what that's all about, but when you shoot the Johnny Law, it's like you shoot and then you hear like downrange, and it's just, it seems louder. It's not like, oh, this one hurts my ears and this one doesn't. It's just like, it sounds different. It sounds like, I genuinely don't know which one's quieter, but the Speakeasy sounds better. So as far as flash, first round and subsequent rounds, there's no real flash. This one sparks a little bit with subsonics, definitely sparks with super, but this one you got nothing. This one you get a little bit of sparks, but I mean, this is titanium, so it is what it is with titanium. No, I didn't see anything on the Speakeasy. So overall, very, very impressed with the performance on 308. Like, I was surprised at how good this did. So moving on to 5.56, these are way too big in my opinion to be putting on a 5.56 gas gun, but I wanted to compare the two of them anyway. Yeah, it's definitely this mag, but that actually sounds really, really good. All right, so we did the Speakeasy, so we got to do the Johnny Law to compare. Ooh, nice. They are both silly quiet, especially with how my 11.5 is set up. They're really, really quiet. The Johnny Law had a noticeably, in my opinion, more pleasant tone shooting like at the ear. I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. It just sounded different, sounded better to me on the 11.5. But yeah, these are both a little too big in my opinion for 5.56, but if you wanted to, I mean, it sounds really, really good. So overall, I am very, very impressed with these. If you're terminally online, I'm sure you already have an opinion of these before shooting them or anything, but I really think like even if you're a Q hater or anything, if you got a hold of these and shot them, I think you'd be impressed. I think people need to actually try out silencers before they have a big opinion on them. It seems wild that that needs to be said, but you really need to try these. The one thing I'll mention, a lot of people are complaining about the price, like for a basic stainless can, like why are they $800, $850? And then people will name some other cheaper silencers, but one thing you got to keep in mind as far as like a value equation is end weight and length when you're looking at specs online. So since the mount is built in, this is Q's quickie mount, it looks a little bit different than on the Trash Panda and Thunder Chicken. It's like a little more extended, and I don't know, it's a little bit different, but I mean, it's still gonna fit Plan B and cherry bombs and stuff like that. But what you've got to look for is when you're looking at, maybe you find a silencer for $600, does it come with a mount? Is the length listed coming with a mount? Does it come with a muzzle device, like a way to mount it? Because it comes with a 30 cal, they call it the rear end. It's just a little bit different than the cherry bomb. The taper is a little bit different, and it fits flush with a 90-degree shoulder. So, but I've got cherry bombs on all my guns, and these still work with them. But so when you're looking at a cheaper silencer, does the length, is it talking about with a mount or without a mount. Does it come with a mount? Because mounts are like $100, muzzle devices like 60 to 100. So if you look at a cheaper silencer, but then you look at the cost of a mount and everything, does it bring it back up to this price? Probably. Is there some that come with a direct thread mount? Probably. Just taking that weight and everything. Not to say that like these aren't the only silencers out there, but I think the performance is really, really great. I genuinely think the value is there. I had planned on buying this one anyway, because when they said it was quieter than the full Nelson, I was like, okay, well, that's what I've been chasing for a long time. I already have the shorter can for my Honey Badger. Like, I was definitely gonna get this one for the Honey Badger just to have the ultimate quiet thing. So I think the value is definitely there. I think the performance is really there. The fact that it can hang with the Johnny Law and everything is very impressive to me, especially since these are, the Johnny Law is like a 50% price increase from these. Like, I think it's like 12 something, where these are 800. So I'm very impressed. And if you're wondering if you should get the Blind Tiger or the Speakeasy, from my experience, I would rather have the Blind Tiger on semi-autos and then the Speakeasy on bolt guns. Like, I have a fairly long bolt gun, but I just like having the ultimate quiet thing on a bolt gun. And on a gas gun, like even on the Honey Badger, unless I'm just showing somebody, I would rather keep the Blind Tiger on there because the performance is still really great, and I like the length. It looks a little better to me too. Like, this is a 7-inch can on a 7-inch barrel. It's like proportioned a little better. But if you just want the ultimate quiet thing, then you know, get this. Or flash is super important. This has like no flash on any ammo I've used. This has a little bit of flash on the first round. Is that important to you? You gotta answer these questions for yourself. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these. I would buy this one with my own money for sure. I already did the Trash Panda. Oh, that's the other thing. If you already have a Trash Panda or a Thunder Chicken, I wouldn't sell those to buy these. But if you're still in the market, I definitely wouldn't buy the Trash Panda or the Thunder Chicken. I think it's kind of surprising that they're still selling the Trash Panda, because I don't see any benefit of that over these. So yeah, don't buy the Trash Panda or the Thunder Chicken. Buy these if you're looking for a silencer. All right, to sum it up, I think these are easily worth the money. The performance is really, really great. I think probably better than a lot of silencers this size. In my opinion, if you've got a bolt gun, I'd probably do this. And if you've got gas guns, I would probably do this. But depends on what you're after. So thank you for watching.